volume was always quite low because as soon as I detected a weakness in my game, I would go away and study the shit out of it, probably too much to a fault. This is in the days before solvers and never really get anywhere. And Jack used to say to me, like, as soon as you find something wrong, you stop grinding, you're already really good and you can already make plenty of money. But I had this problem where I always needed everything to be perfect. So yeah, really, really strong point there. Yeah. Don't aim to be completely cured because it's just unrealistic. It's not going to happen. Okay, the real key is flowing with the feeling and moving forward with it and being happy that it's there. Because each time it comes up, you get to practice how to respond it. This is a very universal approach in all of these kind of development books. Is basically this is the obstacle is the way, which I always refer to, which is every time something bad happens to you, you need to change. Instead of being negative and dwelling on it, you need to view it as an opportunity to succeed. And I think this poker book says something about this too. Is just sort of, next time you're feeling tilted, just see it as an opportunity to be better than the last time, to deal with it better. The one, like in all other walks of life, like I'm pretty open to doing this, being like, okay, here's an opportunity to be better than I was before. Like normally this would make me really sad or angry, but I'm going to practice not being that. I'm going to use it as a challenge. When it comes to anxiety, it's the toughest one. I think this is the kingpin of all of these, because internalized anxiety for me is the most difficult thing to deal with, and it always has been. I struggle so bad with it, and this is going to take me a long time to get good at. This is going to take me a lot of practice to do this. Now I've already started. I've noticed sometimes when I start to get anxious feelings, I'm quite a twitchy person. You can see I know Tomo made that video where he fast forwarded and I'm rocking back and forth in the chair. I have a lot of nervous energy, and I do I have to shake it out, or I get up and I walk around. It's kind of been there for my whole life. I've always been someone who just gets really anxious and worried about stuff. And I have started practicing, realizing, okay, actually I'm feeling really anxious right now, and I'm going to try and convert that feeling. I'm just going to address it and run towards it, and basically try the dare response. I'm going to warn anybody who's watching this now, and there will be a few people watching this who suffer from anxiety and haven't said anything, because it's not something you generally talk about. Most of my friends don't realize that I'm actually a really anxious person. They probably think I'm really laid back. They don't realize that beneath my the laid back sort of personality that I like to convey is actually a really quite anxious person and a massive overthinker. For those of you watching who feel the same way, and I'm sure there's going to be a few of you out there, this is something that's going to take a long time, and you really have to commit to it. It's going to require a lot of dedication. I can say it's been about a month since I read this book, and progress has been very slow for me, admittedly.
Yeah, and it's going to be slow. It's got to be slow, And for myself personally, I'm still on this journey myself, and I'm literally 7 years in now since I actually started working on anxiety and these kind of issues. And it's what I've learned is it's never going to 100% go away, and you have to accept that you're never going to 100% get rid of it.
Yeah.
But you can always work on it. It's like the same with gaining knowledge. Let's say you can read 5,000 books. You're never going to know all the information in the world. It's not possible. You're never going to be 100% there. There's always going to be things you don't know and you don't understand, and you have to deal with that. But as long as you're just you're kind of getting to your maximum potential and capabilities, then that's really where you want to be. Where you're just all right, I'm really actually giving this an effort, and I'm doing as much as I can. And not everyone's the same.
Your mileage may vary.
It's just the way it is. Not everyone is exactly the same. But we all kind of. I love what you mentioned there about how you're anxious, but most people don't know. I think that's the case for basically everyone, where we all have these kind of things or anxieties or insecurities that we don't openly talk about. But we all put up a front there's nothing is ever the matter. we're all good, like nothing is wrong. Because like it could be for multiple reasons. Maybe one's because you don't want people to judge you. Maybe another one is you don't want to like burden people with your shit or whatever it may be. We don't talk about it that much, but it's important to kind of realize that and be aware of that in yourself. Mm-hmm. So you can fix those issues, so you can look to fix those issues and improve those.
But on that point, that's an important point, just about fixing. And like, I've had a problem with this my whole life, and definitely in my poker career. And Jack, you were the one who used to sort of talk me out of this thought process. But there's a great phrase for this: don't let perfect be the enemy of good. And Jack said there about fixing yourself, but also said before that you're never going to be perfect. When we say fix yourself, we don't mean completely be cured. This is not a cure. There is no quite simply no cure for this. The drugs don't work for this. And you don't want to make yourself like a feelingless android, And a lot of people do medicate. A lot of people self-medicate for anxiety.
That's the worst thing, though, by the way.
Yeah.
Even when feeling terrible anxiety is taking medication for anxiety, because what that does is, like, long term, it's just terrible. Like, it'll help you short term, like it'll make you feel better, for a short while you're on the pills. But then those pills always have side effects, and then there's unwanted shit with the pills. And then whenever you get off the pills, then you're gonna feel even more anxious because now you're so dependent on these pills, and like it's just a bad cycle. It's a cycle that you want to avoid at all costs. That's like if there's like a level 1 and level 10, like the worst level is going to be like resorting to taking the pills, because it's like the shortcut approach of like, I don't want to deal with any of this shit. I'll just try to take a pill and feel better, and then I'll figure it out in a few years. I don't know. I'll just figure it out later. I'll just take pills for now. It's not good.
There's no hack for this. There is no hack for this. There is no substitute for the hard work in this. But in terms of what I was saying about perfect being the enemy of good, what that means is if you're seeking perfection, you're never going to reach that point, and you're going to give up, and you'll end up exactly where you started. The goal in this situation is not to be cured. The goal in this situation is to be better than you already are. If you're an anxious person, sucks, but there you go. Your environment and your and basically your brain chemistry have conspired together to create this scenario. Some people don't feel it. Good for them. If you're one of those people like Jack and I, that's just an unfortunate coincidence of life. But there you go. You are an anxious person. The goal here, and certainly my goal, I know that I'm never going to be perfect. I know that I'm always going to feel some sort of anxiety. The goal is just to be much better than I currently am. So if you're watching this now, don't aim to be perfect. Aim to be better than you currently are. That's funny because that works in terms of this, but it also works in poker, and it was something that held me back from playing for a lot of years, where my volume was always quite low, because as soon as I detected a weakness in my game, I would go away and study the shit out of it, probably too much to a fault. This is in the days before solvers, and never really get anywhere. And Jack used to say to me, like, as soon as you find something wrong, you stop grinding, you're already really good and you can already make plenty of money. But I had this problem where I always needed everything to be perfect. So yeah, really, really strong point there. Don't aim to be completely cured, because it's just unrealistic. It's not going to happen.